From the Backyard Gardens crew all the way to you, we wish you a happy new year, and we hope you had a beautiful, happy holidays. And I am your gray-bearded brethren, Ben, the Backyard Gardener, and I'm with my happy, sappy, joyful gardening friend, Batavia. Be Better Garden. And you're listening to the Backyard Gardens podcast. What are we doing new in our gardens this year?
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening and give the information out for you to be successful in your garden, whether it's your first or your last. We are your hosts, Ben, the Backyard Gardener, and
Batavia, the Front Yard Gardener.
One in the country,
one in the city.
Now get ready as we dig deep into this wonderful world of gardening as we learn to grow and grow for change. Second annual show. We've turned the corner, Batavia. We've turned it. We're now doing annual shows.
Are we still going 60? Are we doing 60 miles an hour still or no?
No, we're going 100.
Yeah.
We're not even going to stop.
No. See, I'm like one of those folks that's braking. I'm the person that you curse at when you're behind me.
Yeah, I know.
I don't get in the fast lane, but
I'm like the horse on the cart, and you're in the back pulling the reins back, and I just keep pulling forward as hard as I can. At this point, there might be a little bit of blood from the bit coming out of my mouth, so.
You know how much I've contributed to Chicago, the city of Chicago, and tickets? Not necessarily speeding tickets, although I did get a speeding ticket in the same place 2 or 3 times trying to get cheaper gas, driving over to just across the border to Indiana where gas is much cheaper. And there's a speed trap there. So all that said, yeah.
You're crazy.
I'm taking it nice and slow.
Yeah. You really are. So this is... Oh, you messed me up. But you messed up my train of thought every time.
It doesn't take me much, man. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here.
No. So this is our second annual show where we talk about what we are going to do new in our gardens this year. We're not looking back. No more. 2020 is in the past. We're looking forward. And the beauty of this is then at the end of the year, we have to answer if we did these or not. So it's it's nerve-wracking for me now. I didn't realize it would be because I didn't know that we were going to do like, hey, did we do this? But we did, and it didn't influence my choices for the year. I can say that.
For last year or for the
for this year, for this episode.
Okay.
So everything that I said I'm going to say is, it is what it is.
All right. I'll take it.
You will? Okay.
Yeah.
So housekeeping items. What have we got going on, Batavia? Throw it at the people.
Well, first off, I am not 7 days a week in socks, but I've made the transition over.
Have you?
So...
You know what?
I mean, listen, at some point you have to stop fighting the fight that you won't win.
Yeah.
Did you now?
Yeah. You know what my transition in socks is? I'm only going to wear fancy socks from now on.
Okay. So the next housekeeping item, this is the way we just skip all over it. Come on. Really? Because in my mind, I pictured dress socks. And I don't want to spend the next 10 minutes laughing at you. Sucks.
Yeah.
Not a way to kick off the first episode of the year.
That's perfect.
All right. Perfect. So I do want to just get a quick update because full updates are on YouTube, right, for the greenhouse. But I do just want to check in on the greenhouse.
Okay. So I went back and sealed the bottom of it. Remember I was talking about that last time? I sealed it, and it was 27 degrees last night, and it was 34 in the greenhouse. So we are, past couple of days, it's been 5 degrees over, and then one day it was actually 2 degrees colder than outside.
Okay.
Which was interesting.
So.
And I know why that is.
Why is that?
Because the wind was blowing really hard and it was blowing all the heat out of the greenhouse. So,
interesting.
Yeah, that's just something I'm gonna have to live with.
All right. So my green garage.
Oh yeah.
Just made that up.
I like it.
So we're going to look back because this is what I want to report on. So far, so good when it comes to a mild winter. But January typically becomes the coldest month for us. But back in December around the holidays, we had like a 48-hour period where it got to like as low as 10 degrees, even daytime temps. And then the high was maybe around 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, man.
Miserable.
Hence the transition to socks. Listen,
Yeah,
you have to be obedient sometime. But I do have I was looking at the picture. So at some point around 9 a.m., I went outside and it was reportedly, based on this gadget, the thingamabob, remember, it was 14 degrees outside and 20 degrees inside.
huge.
Now that's significant. Yeah. Now I did notice some other days, it seems like once you get to the 20s, then it's really close. Once that 20-degree temperature, like from 10 to 20, I'm getting like 3 or 4 or 5 degrees difference. From 20 to 30 is a real weird spot. So I'm going to keep my eye on that. Like I'm only gaining a couple of degrees.
Nice.
And then for anywhere from 30 to 40, I can get almost 7 or 8. And again, I am putting, an asterisk around this device being accurate, I presume.
You're always putting asterisks around stuff. I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I am.
You're asterisk happy.
Yeah, I am. I can never guarantee this device, the thingamabob, is accurate.
Yeah, yeah. So
no promises on the thingamabob.
No promises on the thingamabobs. So the other thing is we have our seed giveaway that we are doing. Closes on February 1st. And all you need to do is go to backyardgardenstv.com, sign up for our email newsletter list. We just sent out the winter newsletter, so I hope everybody enjoyed that. And you will be entered for that giveaway and all other giveaways we do. So February 1st is the cutoff date. That's when the winner will be contacted and go from there. So,
all right. February 1st, the 1st of February. Yeah, one winner, one glorious set of prizes.
Glorious set of seeds.
Yeah.
To be exact. So.
To note. Yeah. So.
We ain't giving away no tractors or anything like that.
There's not even balloons? No? Okay.
No.
Right.
I don't do balloons.
Singing telegram? No?
No balloons in my house.
I still have birthday balloons, which is more than a month ago.
Yeah. I know it was.
It makes me happy. Yeah.
Whatever helps you get through that next year and phase of your life.
Absolutely, man. I'm at the age though that all of the years, I mean, it's all the same difference until I get to that next decade milestone. So I mean, I'm 40 something.
No, how are you gonna lie?
Easily.
You're not 40 something. You're in your 20s, Batavia. You look like
my
you're
heart
in your 20s.
is in my 20s.
Yeah.
This is true. Hold on, let me lean back so you don't see those gray hairs. Damn it. Anyway, next
gray hairs.
Next
please.
Housekeeping item. You're distinguished.
Yeah.
I'm just looking like I'm a couple of months off of a dye job, which literally I am. But next housekeeping item, leave us a review on wherever you're listening to the podcast. We'd appreciate it. Helps us out, helps the podcast out. And
for sure.
We like to hear from you.
Help us reach out and touch more people. Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
So enough of that business. Garden resolution. So I do want to say something. Do you have a song for the new year?
No, I do not.
You don't have a song that you ever do? No.
Nope.
Like one that you like point towards yourself and you're like, this is what I'm, this kind of speaks about what I'm going to do this year. Nope. Really?
Doesn't exist. No.
Okay.
What's yours?
Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson.
Oh, good night.
Yeah, man.
That's your reflection song?
Yeah, you got to take a look at yourself and make the change, make the world a better place. And it starts with you. And so that's what we're going to do, in our house.
How many verses are we going to go through?
That's it.
I don't have
That's basically the whole song. So, he just says it over and over. So.
Well, good on you.
Good on me.
I mean, are you singing it daily or do you, how does it really work?
No, you just think about it. Okay. It's like, this is a song. This is what you want to do. And so, we were listening, we're trying to teach our son about, older music, pop, stuff like that. And, aside from all the allegations, may they be true or not, I don't know. the man still could sing and dance. So, we're trying to teach him about that. And it just it rang true to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, there's a lot of selfish stuff in the world. Things are crazy. It was good to just say, let's look at ourselves and see how we can make that change. And then that's what we're going to do. So that's my inward moment for today. That's it. Now I put up the wall.
Yeah. I think I may like your inward moments. Like,
you do?
That's a new on-camera version of yourself.
A new on-camera version, yeah.
Yeah, you've heard about the Emmy nominations for Sappy Batavia, haven't you? You're trying to contest it. I see what's happening here.
Nobody will cry. But no, so
that's no guarantee. But
that is not a guarantee. Well, no, this episode should not be a tearful episode. This should be an episode of
You're right. This
joy.
is a joyous episode again, and I am very happy. We don't get into Sappy for a while now. This is a happy version of Batavia.
Yeah.
Although I haven't had a nap, but I have had a full dinner / breakfast.
Yeah.
So I'm set.
A Brenner.
Let's go with it.
Go with it. So, yeah. And I mean, the thing is about these is, we talked about all of our winter garden checklists, and this is part of it. This is part of that first month where you come up with what you want to do for the next year.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, Batavia, ladies first, will you please kick us off on what your garden resolution is for the year?
Let me go to my notebook. For those that are listening that believe I've already started writing in the notebook, if you missed that from a holiday episode.
She's sinful.
For those that are watching, forgive the lie. So I have a bunch, and I've tried to keep them organized. And I kind of split mine up into like the community, the garden community, and then kind of my garden. So what's kind of in my space. So this first one, and I had to lead off with this one. Stop it. Like, stop putting it off. I love a good project. I say it often. How big did your eyes just get?
As big as they can. Often. I thought you were yelling at me.
Yeah, right. It doesn't mean I won't have projects, but I have a tendency. I've organized my, my procrastination. I've given it the title of it's a project that allows me to put things off, put them off to the side. I'll do them later. So it's like plant it, harvest it, preserve it yesterday. Just go ahead and do it, right? You don't need a bunch of anything. You don't need, the perfect conditions. What I don't want this year is to look back in 6 months and say, I didn't get around to this and have no other explanation but for I was waiting for the perfect conditions. Yeah. So it's more of a theme, right? For the year, the self-check. I've actually already tried to do this a little because it's the same issue I have in the garden, the same issue I have personally, like, bundling things together. So I've really tried to just say, cut bait, stop in the moment and do it. And it's just as good as it would have been if I created spreadsheet among spreadsheet and listed it out. So
what is
stop and do it.
So what is something that you put off in the garden though?
Are you really just trying to be rude here?
No, I don't understand what you're talking about. So I imagine that whoever else says it might be like, well, what is she talking about? Like what is something that you put off? So 2 things. Spring garden planting in 2020 was something that didn't happen for me. And I intended on starting seedlings in the early part of December for some indoor growing. And that didn't happen either because you know what I did? What? I inserted a indoor house plant project instead. I made that a project and my priority. And then I was then able to put off the indoor seed starting. Yeah.
So those are examples, right? And because we know what we do in the garden, oftentimes it takes weeks, if not months, for it to pay off. Each of those days that I put a thing off,
it snowballs. It just gets delayed. Worse and worse. Yeah. Yep. I feel you.
So, are you picking up what I'm throwing down now?
I'm smelling what you're stepping in for show.
Yeah.
So
just do it. Maybe I can, Nike, if you're out there, if you're listening. Yeah.
Yeah, our phone number is psych. Actually, just to be honest, Nikes are probably the worst shoes for your feet ever made, but that's okay.
I'm thinking more of they should have a garden line. Do not steal the idea if you're listening.
Yeah, but I mean, God gave me the garden line. It's just barefoot, baby. So I just I garden barefoot.
Yeah. Okay.
The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to really focus on building my soil back up. I really need the wild garden. It really needs to be honed in, and it really needs to be built up. And, I'm a firm believer that you need a strong foundation for anything. And, some people think, oh, it's just dirt, doesn't matter. And then, I think you have like two camps. And then other people are like, nah, soil, like Ron Finley is sexy as shit, this compost is sexy and all that. And it really is. And it's really important. And until you see how much work you can put into something and then how little you can get out of it because your foundation is messed up, you really don't you can't really comprehend. But the wild garden, because remember, I just cut everything and I was like, I'm just going to grow here. It really needs to be amended and built up. So I'm focusing this year. I'm going to make a lot of compost, and I'm really trying to, in order to get myself a jump start too, I've got to go get truckloads of compost and just dump it in there. And then everything that I make this year will hopefully help me out for this next year coming up, stuff like that. So
can we dig in there? Can we take a
dude? You can pull out your fork and knife and take a bite if you want. I mean, let's do this.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up my milk crate and take a seat and
I'll
chat
sit
on
on
this.
my
So I was
5-gallon
looking
bucket.
online at no man, all the ridges and stuff. I have too many parts for that. Right?
Yeah, I don't. So
I was actually looking at this online recently, and in my mind, because I haven't put a label on it, but it's kind of like I yearn uncomplicated gardening.
Yeah.
Hashtag it. That's really long, but hashtag it. And I have an eye out for instances where we collectively make something complicated that really isn't.
Yeah.
Hence my first kind of resolution and doing something new and different in the garden. So I personally do that. But when it comes to soil in particular, I was looking at someone, and maybe it was a video about building your soil or something like that. And I said to myself, well, we've talked about, you and I have talked about, I have unconsciously built my soil. I want to kind of peel the onion back and say, for your soil in particular, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that land was very different. So I guess I'm trying to get to, do you feel like you have the average home where, you look forward and you have some soil issues, or is it more of where what that land was used for prior? Well, I just don't want everyone to feel like they have to spend time and money building their soil. Like, you have evidence that you need to do this.
Yeah, I have evidence. So first of all, everybody does need to spend time building their soil, but they don't need to spend money building their soil. So, and the time it's literally as simple as adding mulch into your garden, the right kinds of mulches. It's not, like for me, I said, hey, I need to get a truckload of compost. That's because I'm trying to reverse a situation. I'm trying to get more organic matter into it. So a lot of times, if you have an in-ground bed, you probably do have some kind of soil imbalance for growing food. Okay? Not saying that you definitely do, but you might have some kind of soil imbalance, some kind of, it might be slight, it might be drastic, whatever. Like for me, my natural soil is sand. That's what it is, basically sand with a little bit of dirt mixed into it. So it drains really fast. It doesn't hold any nutrients. So, and it does have nutrients in it. But when I got my soil test, it was just basically everything was low. And it's because it cannot hold it. So by adding mulch and then adding some compost, I mean, you can literally, it depends on the size of it. But if you go get a bag of compost and you add it, that can be all you need. But for me, I need to really amend it and build it up. And as this mulch breaks down, it will continue. So really what it is it's a time process is how I'm looking at it, is it takes time to do this. So I think a lot of people are building without knowing that they're building.
Yeah, which again, I am one of those people. What I want to make sure is that, like, let's balance how far we're getting from get a plant or get a seed and get some dirt, put it in some dirt, right? Like, we can't have it both ways, you know? So in one instance, like if you go back to the first year of when you were gardening in your space, do you feel like something was missing?
No. And so where it is, just like we say, get some dirt, get a seed, put it in. The trick is when you're constantly using your soil, constantly growing.
There you go.
It's not, it's, you know, especially for me, like it's January. I still have stuff growing outside. So guess what that's doing? It's using stuff in my soil. So that's what I'm talking about is it's still is always going to be as simple as you put something in. But as you continue to cultivate the area and you grow more and more and more and more, and some crops are more high demanding than others, then you will devoid the soil of nutrients and structure and stuff like that. So, you know, I go in here and I cleared out the wild garden, and I mean, it's been sitting there for thousands of years that way. I mean, it was literally just a patch of woods. So as I go through, and each year I've planted, it's gotten less and less and less. And that signals to me it's time to put something back. And it's not time to put fertilizer back. It's time to feed the soil. Does that make sense? I didn't expect to get attacked on the first one.
Well, I mean, listen, the way that I am digging into and flipping things over in January, in February, I'm just going to roll on to the next item. But in January, I'm in tune. No, I think it's excellent way to kind of break that down and describe it. And it's, I have been and have become even a bigger fan of containers. I mean, that's the truth of the matter for containers every single time. Well, yeah. And I really like that you kind of went back to the sandy soil and how it drains so quickly. So some of my raised beds on the patio, I was just observing how the soil is compressed and how much soil I'm just losing out of the bottom of it, and it's just not soil I'm losing nutrients as well. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think that's your number one, right?
Yeah, that's my number one.
It's a good one.
So, and I mean, it sounds more complicated than it really is, but it's, it's just being diligent and focused on it is really what my point is this year. Yeah.
So I'm going to go to my electronic notebook.
Do it.
I'm transitioning.
Do you have one word written in that notebook?
Grow roots. Well, I have right now. It's a holder for my phone. The notebook is a holder for my electronic notebook. Okay. Just my paper notebook is so pretty that I just don't want to. I don't want to ruin it. It's so pretty. I don't want to write in it. So grow roots is my second one. I know I've done it before, and I've openly put asterisks around it. I've openly said that they make me nervous and anxious, and I prefer not to because I can't see the progress as easily as I can see any other vegetable that the fruits of that vegetable grow above the ground. And I just decided, and it wasn't that I had a super duper successful year last year, when it comes to root vegetables. Although I love the potatoes, I got a single carrot as an example, so it wasn't that I had such a great year and now I'm ready to commit to more. This is something I'm still trying to work through and figure out and get comfortable with. And I've just decided to I don't want to say go all in, meaning I'm going to plant as many root vegetables as tomatoes, because that could never be true in my life. Tomatoes will always rule. But I'm going to try to put aside the fear and just say, these are things that I want to eat. And you're only going to get better with practice.
So this
a little bit of research too.
This is a twofer because that's one of mine too. So,
okay.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that growing roots is a more advanced gardener's mindset?
You know, I thought I knew.
Not an advanced gardening technique. Mindset.
No, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. I thought I knew, but I'm always surprised, which is again another one of the reasons I love the community. I'm always surprised to hear some of the things that new gardeners say and aspire to do. So, I mean, I think that the shorter season crops are things that, you know, a newer gardener or a gardener that's focused on more basic vegetables go after. And root vegetables aren't, I mean, outside of radishes, a lot of root vegetables take a bit of time. I don't want to say advanced. I do want to say maybe a more complex garden. Maybe it's the same thing.
No, I think it is because it really tests your patience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I mean, because you can't see what's going on. You have no idea what's going on underground. And that's nerve-wracking. You know, you grow a tomato, boom, there's a tomato. Not taking anything away from growing a tomato. But when you put a carrot in the ground, you literally have no idea what's underground until you pull that bitch up. You might have a big, fat, giant carrot. You might have a little teeny weeny twisted carrot. You might have 3 carrots twisted all together. You might have one growing in between a rock. You have no idea. So I feel like it, and I'm not saying that if you're a brand new gardener, you can't grow these. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like the patience that comes in it and the faith is something that is definitely learned in time. You know, I've slowly over the years dabbled more and more into roots. And this year is like, I'm in. I'm having a stellar root
year
year.
of the root.
I'm having a stellar root winter.
Hashtag it, the year of the root.
Yeah.
There it is. So there is something that we do when it comes to maintenance and tinkering with the garden. You know, it's through our observations though, right? So we notice something is going astray with our cucumber plants or, you know, pepper plants. So you intervene. You don't always have that opportunity with root vegetables.
Right.
So that it's patience, and it's almost like you said, it's, you know, it's that belief, if it's that hope, right?
Yeah.
You know, that trust, right? So it's
Sometimes I feel like growing a root crop it's like gardening on a hope and a prayer. You know what I mean? Like you just don't have a clue, and you're just like, please let it work, please let it work, please. You know, like when I got my carrots this year, I was like, them some bitches look good. My first crop, it was stellar. I was like, hell yeah. Then my next crop, I was like, damn, you can't even get a snack out of this. But, you know, I went back to the drawing board and know what I did wrong.
Yeah. So. I keep on walking past where I planted garlic, like, I mean, what are we going to do? You know?
Yeah.
Like, we're in the dead of winter, and there isn't an expectation for them to do anything, but I'm looking like, you know. So, yeah, it is rewarding though, you know.
It is.
Maybe unlike many other vegetables.
So what root crops are you going to focus on?
I haven't finished my list yet. Well, you know, I'm going to do carrots for sure, meaning plural, meaning I want more than 1 carrot like I got last year, although it's still a very proud moment. So I'm going to do carrots. I am going to still do the potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the white potatoes. I didn't do any radishes last year, and I think a quick win would be nice. I am going to do, I set on my mind, like rutabagas, and that's hence the longer season, you know, a little bit more commitment, a little bit more air quote preparation, which I have to put an asterisk by that because I have to balance my number one goal in doing something new with, you ain't got to really prepare that much, you know, get the seeds, plant them, and keep on moving. So yeah, those are some of the ones that are on the top of my list. How about you?
I got a long list.
Yeah.
Turnips, rutabagas, carrots, parsnips, radishes, potatoes, obviously, and daikon radishes I want to plant because they're a good tiller. So I'm going to put those out in the wild garden, let them till down a little bit. And I have a really good daikon radish recipe as well.
Of course you do. Stay tuned for 2022.
2024. And I think that's about it. I don't know what all I said, but the thing is though, is like you say, you're not going to grow as many as tomatoes, but in all reality,
wait, I didn't say that.
You said you're going to grow more tomatoes than you are roots.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But, so that's what, Leonard, I want to make sure the record is clear on this one. Fine.
Yeah, I know, Leonard. So he just said, yeah, right. What we're going to, if you think about it though, like you're going to start what? 80 tomatoes this year?
No, we're going to do something like a nice round number, like 50.
50. You're going to have way more. 50.
Remember that skit from Saturday Night Live when she kicked her leg up in the air?
I never watched Saturday Night Live.
I'm going to have to find that clip for you. They have their moments.
Yeah. But you're going to start way more than 50 seeds for root crops, so.
Yeah, you know what? Doesn't that feed my need? Like,
yeah.
Like I can start millions of them, and it's like no harm, no foul. I mean, I know the whole idea of thinning and all of that stuff, but that whole need for me to make sure that I have enough or more than enough. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Root crops may be the thing that really kind of, again.
Dude, they saved me this year.
Like my garden jam. Say again?
They saved me this year. My tomatoes got sick. And then I started planting all these. I mean, now I'm getting turnips out in December, January. So.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. So you're growing turnips for the turnip itself and not for the leaves?
Not the leaves, no.
Yeah, for the root itself.
Yeah, I do the turnips and the rutabagas right now. So, and the problem is my rutabaga and turnip seeds spilled, and so they're all mixed up. So, yeah. So I planted a bunch of them out, and I'm like, I don't know which one's which, but I have some others out in other areas of the garden. So I think that I might have 2 rutabagas right now. So, and I have like 15 or 20 turnips out there, but the rutabagas, I'm like, oh snap. Like they're getting like stout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they can get sizable. Well, the reason why, I grew up in, eating rutabagas and they can sub in for potatoes, so I'm kind of already hedging my bets on potatoes. We'll talk in the future about kind of what my plans are for potatoes. I've been thinking about my approach there. There will be potatoes grown.
I got to sow my potatoes soon.
No, it's coming.
We sow them in February here.
Ugh. Yeah.
So.
Damn.
All right. So that was 2 for us. What is who goes first?
You want me to go?
Who goes next?
I know.
I kind of piggybacked on you.
You went root. I think I'm going to go. And you're going to love this one. And this one's more of like, it's warm and fuzzy. It's not definitive, but it's my list. I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
So more time daily enjoying the garden instead of working the garden. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many hours we've spent talking about this for last year for me.
You stubborn.
How many minutes did it take us? 30 minutes to get in before you pulled that card out? Yeah. No.
So how are you going to do it?
Go with #stubborn.
What are you going to do?
But I'm just going to accept it. I accept truth moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I spent a lot of time last year because remember, everything was condensed for me because I procrastinated. Do you see the theme here? Put things off, felt like there was this mad dash, needing to get everything in. And that made my work days in the garden much longer. And you gave me a good tip, and I think you did it intentionally when you talked about kind of the time period where you really spend doing the most of your work, and that allows you to kind of kick back and play the guitar in the garden during the summer. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking a page out of your book when it comes to that, because it's not like I'm not thinking about and kind of loosely doing garden things. It's not like I'm taking some hibernation off of it. I'm not, So I'm hoping to use that time more wisely in the late winter, early spring to put me in a good space once I'm actually out working. And it's the garden, spending more time enjoying it, and outdoors in general. So that's a really important one for me.
Well, I'm the type of person where it's like I will work 24 hours a day for a month every day. I would just stay up constant, which I mean I know you can't do, but you get what I'm saying. If I knew there was a period where like I could be totally hands off. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I do it. So I guess if people don't know where that is in which episode, because I probably couldn't tell you. I work my hardest in the spring in the garden. And then in the summer, it's just maintaining it and solving problems and enjoying it. So
yeah,
I applaud you for that, Batavia. I think that's going to be a good one for you. I think it'll be good for you.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that, and that also folded into, it's not on my list because I mean, I've already committed to it full on, but the spring garden, we talked a bit, normally I can place the episodes. I can't remember the episode either, but we talked about, maybe it was the, did we meet our goals? That was the December 31st episode. Yeah. If you haven't listened to that one already, go ahead and give it a listen. And the idea is, I'm kind of thinking about when I'm going to get food out of the garden. And so that sings to me when I think about getting food in the garden. When I start at the end of May, beginning of June, doesn't come until July. But if I spread this out, I get food from the garden much earlier. And that speaks to my garden heart, right? Yeah. It makes my garden soul sing. And that allows me, again, to spread that workload out and in turn enjoy some of the best parts of summer. Was it spring? Which best version of Batavia? After a nap? After a snack.
Yep. In the spring.
Going into summer.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because I mean, straight up, like I do it because I just want to surf all summer. So, and record podcasts and do videos. That's all I want to do. Like I can't do all of everything I want to do. So you got to, carve out times. And I mean, really.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say the hope is that, we've talked about how my girlfriends and I, how outside has been closed this past year, right? And the hope is that things open up a bit more. And there will be times where your girl's going to put on some high heels and, an inappropriate skirt length. And, like I want to be away from the garden.
You do it. Yeah.
Oh, wait, did we say 20 something? I think it's appropriate for 20-year-olds. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's my hope, right? So yeah.
Good. I hope you do it.
You were going to say?
I don't know what I was going to say. I forgot.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I know the high heels. I know it caught you off guard there.
It did. No, the inappropriate skirt length caught me off guard, just so you know.
I'm looking forward to those years where it becomes questionable, like, should you have left that? If my grandmother were alive, she would absolutely say that. Don't you think you're a little too old for that? I can't wait for it.
You be you. So.
All right, so you're up.
Oh, man. Mine is I'm going to grow protein in my garden. Yeah.
That's huge, man.
Yeah.
Are you doing what, peanuts?
No.
Are you ready to say yet?
Well, I'm not sure just yet exactly.
Okay.
So far it's going to be either cowpeas, black eyed peas, or black beans, and I need to figure out if it's worth it to grow peanuts. So that's really it. But as a vegetarian or a pescatarian, it's a lot of people, and we're going to have a show about this, but you talk about homesteading, and homesteading would require you to grow all of what you need, right? Mm-hmm. Well,
to build up to that, to lead to that, yeah.
Right. But we don't eat meat other than fish, like seafood. So I can't put an ocean in my yard physically. I do live close to the ocean, but being able to provide that nutrient. And first of all, I hate referring to a food as a protein or a carb or whatever. But just to kind of give you the only reason why I use it is to give you the idea of what we're thinking about, is to kind of put that final piece in the puzzle. So we eat a lot of beans. And so I got some black turtle beans, and I literally, as of this second, when we talk about it, know nothing about growing them, but I'm going to figure it out. So it should be interesting, but I'm excited to try. You know, it's just something that I want to do. We're adding more trellis space this year, so it makes sense to do it. And I don't know how much I can get off of a crop. That's what I need to really figure out. If it's like, you know, green beans, you can get a fair amount, but once you shell them, you ain't got much, you know, if you shelled them.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like, am I going to get a pound? Because quite frankly, I can buy a pound of dry beans for 89 cents, literally 89 cents. So it's kind of one of those things, but it's either going to be definitely black-eyed peas or black beans, one of the two.
So I mean, I think technically black-eyed peas are peas versus beans, but for this purpose, I dump them all in the same bean category. And black-eyed peas, I mean, Leonard, don't keep me honest here. It's in the top 5. I love, well, you know, it's so between black-eyed peas and pinto beans, they're my favorite. I spent before the new year, I spent like 10 minutes. Went to the grocery store and bought what I thought were going to be the last things for like New Year's Eve dinner and for New Year's Day dinner. And I just assumed I had black-eyed peas because that's how I roll. And when I got to the car from the grocery store, I'm like, should I go back in there and grab another bag? Because I mean, 89 cents.
Yeah.
And so I said, no, I'm sure I have one. And then I spent, you know, sifting through toilet paper that I had stacked. No, I'm joking about the toilet paper. I was sifting through all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, well, of course I have black-eyed peas. But yeah, that's the only 2 reasons why I haven't grown them, or one reason really, is the space and how much I think I would need to grow to make it worth my while compared to what I would purchase. But to be quite frank, that argument has been made for potatoes for me too. And I think for me, I love the experience of growing them.
Yeah. I mean, so just so you know, peas have the highest protein content in vegetables other than like soybeans. So 1 cup of peas will yield you 8 grams of protein. So that's a lot when you talk about vegetables, right? So that's, you know, even...
So, I mean... That's the key to me looking 20.
Yeah. That is the key.
By default, you know.
Yeah. That is the key. And so, you know, planning these things, it's just kind of that another piece to the puzzle, you know, another step towards that goal. I mean, I can eat tomatoes until the cows come home, but they don't give you that valuable nutrient that you do need. So...
For black-eyed peas or any of those beans, do you do them as a side or as a meal?
Oh shit, we'll eat them as a straight meal.
Yeah.
Black-eyed peas, like
my man.
Yeah, no, with a little bit of hot sauce on it. Good God Almighty, Papa Bear just be happy.
Cornbread,
some rice, some cornbread, some damn. We have all kinds of recipes for beans.
That's the sound of the angels, just so you know.
Yeah. So that's the goal. Now, as I do a little bit more research in the coming weeks, there will be some protein somehow grown. And you know what? It may just be regular peas, you know?
Yeah.
So actually, we're definitely going to grow regular
I mean, I think
peas.
There's a level of complete gardening there.
Yeah.
You know, and I get the connection to, you know, you mentioning homesteading, and it's, you know, you talk about being self-sustaining, you know, and while it's not my intention to be 100% self-sustaining, I do want to build my tool set, you know, so I want to know how to do these things. So yeah, well, I'm excited about that. I'm looking to hear which ones you settle on. Rooting for the black-eyed peas.
Yeah, I'm rooting hard for the black-eyed peas.
Before Fergie and after Fergie, but not during Fergie.
Yeah. Not during Fergie.
All right. So, moving along.
That one didn't land, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. I get it, man. I actually have a plant named Fergie.
Ew.
But, you know. Yeah, I mean, listen. All right, so I'm going to move on to... We make commitments here, and we try to hold each other accountable. this is me talking my way into actually saying this. I'm going to start seedlings every single month. If it's one,
girl.
if it's two, if it's 2 dozen, every single month. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December.
Thank you for
and the
reciting
extra
months
month that
for
we
us
get,
in case we
you
didn't know.
Absolutely. You're welcome. But you know what? There's someone listening and it's like, does she mean every month? Like every month.
Every month.
Every month, yeah.
Yeah. You know what though? I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah.
Because how dare you?
For me, where I'm at with gardening, yeah.
How dare you even attempt to steal my next one with that? But we won't go there yet. So what are you going to start?
How is that possible?
How are you going to start in January? I mean, what are you going to start? Speak.
Oh, I'm going to do I'm going to do like lettuce. So this is more so geared towards the kind of indoor gardening, Yeah. I'm going to do some of your favorite like microgreens, things like that, probably more like February. What I want to be able to do is feel like I'm getting something to consume that I've grown every month.
And so you landed on microgreens? That's going to put me.
First I said lettuce.
No.
And then I also threw in my...
It overshadows everything you've said. What are you going to do with your microgreens?
I'm going to eat them.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to add them to as salad because at some point I don't have an overlap of salad greens. Hold on, I have a sneeze coming. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. He does. So at some point I'm going to run out of my fall lettuce before I can get my newly planted lettuce. And I like green things in my meals, whether it's soups, whether it's an actual salad. So I've already committed to it, man. You're not talking me out of it. You're not going to,
I'm going to browbeat you.
Farm,
I'm going to browbeat you about this.
Nope. You know what? Add it to the housekeeping. It's going to start in February. Add it to the housekeeping.
We ain't talking about... No, No. Hey,
microgreens. Hashtag it. Microgreens.
My whole thing about microgreens.
I know your whole thing. We know your whole thing.
Okay.
Are you going to insist on telling us your whole thing again?
I'm not going to go there. Hold up. Now, are you going to grow sprouts and stuff like that too?
Maybe not.
See, I would do like an alfalfa sprout thing. I would be down with that because that's pretty good. And like bean sprouts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's a lot of work for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is the payoff really worth it? That's my question.
There's only one way to find out, brother.
There is. Amen. So what are you going to be starting in December, in these odd months? What do you have a plan?
So, I felt like November, December is when I should have started my lettuce for indoor growing. So the key when I started lettuce in July, it was July of last year. I transplanted it in September. So that's it's about 45 days later I transplanted it. Yeah, something like that. And some of them were real romaine lettuce, baby leaves, your favorite. Some of the others were really, really small. And so when I looked and I thought to myself, I could easily have fresh lettuce coming in if I would have started it, let's say November 1st. February 1st, I could actually have lettuce that I'd be actively harvesting. So I'm trying to back that up, right? You know, so November is not starting seedlings to plant outside. November is starting seedlings to plant for my indoor gardening, if you will.
Right.
So November of 2021 is what we're talking about now.
I got you.
So yeah.
I got you. Okay.
There's some other indoor stuff that, I want to keep on the down low for right now, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. And there's some stuff I want to do indoors as well. So, yeah, I feel you. So you kind of almost...
technically I could start I could start microgreens every month. Ooh, you love that, wouldn't you?
Never have dead air. But my mom always said if I didn't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Check.
You know, I'm not a spiteful person or a spiteful gardener, but there's nothing like microgreens to get your goat. You know, there's a small part of me that just wants to F with you there.
And you know what? You have earned that right, Batavia.
Yeah.
Out of the 330,000 minutes we've talked this year, or whatever the number is, I think it was something like 33,000. You've earned that right. Mm-hmm. So, but you almost stepped on my toes.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because I am in the process of building what I call a massive seed starting area. And my goal is not to buy a single seedling this year. I'm not buying a single vegetable seedling this year. I'm going to do it.
Good for you.
And if I can't grow it, then damn it, I'm just not going to have it. And that's just, I'm you know.
Good for you.
I'm going to try. And which means I will be starting seeds throughout the year as well.
You have the discipline when you, we were talking about, and it's in one of the clips on Instagram, the way that you all eat seasonally, you know, so the idea of you're saying, hey, this isn't in season, we're not going to have it, you know, so you have that discipline already, if you will, to apply to, you know, we didn't start it indoors, so we're not going to have it, you know, so.
I didn't eat a single cucumber
in the garden,
this year.
I should say.
I haven't eaten a single cucumber
sad,
or
but
pickle
this is a happy episode.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It doesn't bother me. But it's just, you know, I just think about it. I'm like, you know, I just spent maybe $70 on seeds for the year. Something $60-$70. And out of that, if I went and spent $70 at the store, I would have so few seedlings. It's totally absurd. You know what I mean? It's just completely absurd. Now, that being...
It's highway robbery.
It is.
What area does that come from? Highway robbery?
It is and it isn't. Because if you think about it, though, in order to buy a seedling, I mean, they got to grow it for 2 months before they give it to you. You know, it's 6 weeks of it and somebody else paying for electricity and everything. So, I mean, I get it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time... Now, there are some things like if you go buy like lettuce... And the seedlings, you get the lettuce seedlings, and then because usually it's like 3 or 4 in each cell, and then you can separate them out. I actually don't think that's such a bad idea. And it's kind of where I want to throw an asterisk in there, but I won't, is like if I needed lettuce, I would if I could find one that had like multiple starts in each cell. Because like I had them this fall, I bought two 6-packs, and out of those 2 6-packs, I got 22 different plants. So, you know, double. So it wasn't that bad. That's significant. Yeah, that wasn't, because, you know, they come in, you can easily tease them out and separate them and plant them.
I've seen it in the stores. I've never bought lettuce as a transplant. But yeah, you know, I was in the winter, one of the things I do to cope through, you know, kind of the winter blues, and specifically, you know, the lack of gardening that's been in my past, you know, the past years. And here, let me make an adjustment here. The screen is shaking, and I realize it's me shaking the desk that's shaking the screen. All right, so moving along. So where was I? Oh, indoor plants. So as those that are watching, this may not be in the camera shot, but there are plants that are starting to surround me again. And I was watching a video on YouTube for a plant seller, right? And they were showing a popular plant from its infancy, and like doing kind of not a time lapse, but, you know, fast forward X number of months. And you start to think about how many months it takes to get to the point of you producing something you're going to sell in a store. Same thing applies to vegetables, you know? So there is, when it comes to seedlings, a lot of time and energy that you're paying for, if you will, you know? So I'll walk it back a little bit when it comes to, if you have a means to do it yourself, save yourself the dollars, you know, and if you don't, it's something that's going to be worth the expense.
I mean, think about it this way. This year, I am increasing my seed starting area by about 1,000%. Mm-hmm. So if you put it into perspective. So if I'm going to do that, like, you know, and last year, like I did all of my summer vegetables by seed. So I just start earlier and do it, you know, so like I'm going to be starting seeds this week. Like I'm starting all my brassicas, lettuce, you know, broccoli, cauliflower, all my cool weather stuff. I'm going to go ahead and start this week because I have to get them out within 6 to 8 weeks. So depending on how everything goes. So, I mean, it's just about staggering and timing. And then...
Ooh, pardon me. I have all kinds of things going on here.
You do, sure enough. And then...
I'm telling you.
Flowers are going to be started too. I'm not buying any flowers. Unless I can't find the seed that I want. I will say. I will go there. And I am going to buy milkweed. So...
Okay.
And that's that. So what's yours?
Right.
Nope. Not yet. It is time for the recipe of the day featuring Batavia. Batavia, you don't seem ready for this one. Do you want me to take it?
I got so caught up in New Year, New Me, I forgot about the recipe of the day.
All right, I'll call an audible to this week. So
I appreciate you for it.
Yeah, so tomorrow actually I start my annual juice fast, which is where I juice for. I'm gonna do it for 10 days. I'll just drink juice that I make, and I'm gonna give you my secret recipe juice. I've dubbed it the Gardener.
Okay.
So if you have a juicer.
This is a recipe that you're giving in advance of people needing it. This is a first.
I don't know what you mean by that, but so it's.
Well, I mean, normally you wait 2 to 3 months after it can be used by anyone. So yeah,
New year. So what it is it's 5 carrots, 5 large carrots, 1 whole lemon, and 2 handfuls of spinach juiced. And if you really wanted a little bit sweeter, you could add an apple to it. And then that'll give it a little bit of volume too, a little bit more volume. But without the apple, it is plenty sweet. So it's really easy. I do this every year just to kind of reset after the holidays and stuff like that. But it's a really good juice recipe. You could...
Does it matter what type of apple?
Well, I don't do green apples. So, yes, for me, because it's my juice that I created, but no, it does not matter. You can use whatever you want. I wouldn't use like a Red Delicious. They're not the juiciest. You know, usually we use like a Fuji or something like that. So, but are you familiar with juicing at all? Have you ever juiced anything? Okay. So it's a little...
Unfortunately, yes, I have.
It's a different thing to consume a juice, right? Yeah. And when we created it, we wanted a sweet, but that lemon just gives it that perfect little bit of sour. So, and I mean, play with it too, just kind of switch it up. But, you know, I'm going to be drinking that juice every day for 10 days. No, probably for 14 days because I'll continue to drink afterwards. So it is kind of like...
Is it only juice? Oh, so 10 days of only juicing.
10 days of only juicing, and then you kind of go back on to solids slowly but surely. And let me tell you, after that 10th day, I mean, the longest I've ever gone is 23 days. After you're done, that first apple that I always eat an apple first is so damn good. It tastes literally like insert candy bar. You know, whatever you want. It's so sweet and juicy and amazing. It's great. So, which is kind of why I do it, because I want to reset my taste buds too.
Okay. I've done 7 days, and my cheat was like little tangerines, like wanting to chew something, you know, in between. But I actually really enjoy... I had like maybe 6 or 7 different types of recipes. I really enjoy juicing. It's just, and I know how this is going to sound. It's a lot of work.
It is.
And it takes a lot of veggies to produce it. Part of the reason why I was so adamant about growing kale during the summer this past garden season was because I wanted to be able to juice I would have the cucumbers, I would have the kale. The kale didn't quite work out. So, that's a hope for me this year, but I really enjoy it. The idea of making enough for, X number of days, that's a lot to go on, but I won't join you.
That was my goal.
Wish you luck. I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah. I don't need any luck. It's,
Well, it's just my way of expressing, my hope for you.
It's a mindset thing. You know what I mean? It's a discipline thing. And to be able to finish that course, and to be honest, I would do 30 days right now, but I have to do a camping trip in the middle and I can't keep it up. So I have to cut it short because I have a Cub Scout thing to do. But I enjoy it. And you're right. It is, the greenhouse. I actually had a section of the greenhouse. If you look at how it's growing, it was literally just for this time period. I tried to get the kale and stuff in, but because it was my first year with it and the heat, I didn't realize how it would affect things. So I didn't get what I wanted out of it. But, all of this stuff it's just, I don't know. For me, it's just resetting everything. I've always lived a life with bad habits. And so it'll be good. And man, I feel mentally tack sharp when I do it. Like, I feel like I'm on top of my game.
Do you have any of the headaches or crankiness in the first couple of days?
I mean, I might get cranky or something, but I get cranky anyways. You know what I mean?
Be warned.
Yeah. But, and it feeds directly into my first goal. Because all of that stuff that I'm juicing is rocket fuel for a compost. I mean, because you're putting it in there and it's all ground up. And I'll drink 4 to 5 juices a day. That's a lot of produce that's just ground up, just ready to go in there. It is rocket fuel for a compost pile. Yeah. So I'm pretty, because I was like, you know what? It's just it works out. But try the gardener juice. 5 carrots, 2 handfuls of spinach, 1 lemon, and if you really want, add an apple.
Nicely done.
That's my audible. You're lucky I had something
great
on top of my head.
There. Yeah, great save. All right. So does that mean because I fumbled on the recipe of the day, I need to go for another one, or is it your go?
I don't remember.
I was actually trying to cross off the ones I already gave when you were wrapping up that recipe.
Oh, you were? I mean, it doesn't matter. I'll go. I mean, I'm really focusing now on flowers again this year and spreading them throughout more. So just building more visual structure throughout my garden and trying to get more pollinators in, honestly. I mean, that's the big thing for me with it. And it definitely helped last year. So why do you scrunch your nose at me, Batavia? Please.
I scrunch my nose because you fed into one of mine, and it is feed the bees and the birds, which I'm nervous about.
You're going to feed birds.
I know. This just doesn't speak to me. I'm all like, how do you feed the birds and not the squirrels? And I have you in my head saying, feed the squirrels so they won't eat your garden. I'm just like, oh, either way. I do plant with pollinators in mind in general, and specifically bees, and try to do things that aren't toxic to bees in the garden. But in addition to having a bird bath, which I don't know if I ever see birds in it, I want to take it up one more notch, to kind of give back to the community, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's one of mine as well. So I have a couple of ideas. Flowers, obviously, being one huge one for the pollinators.
Yeah.
And you know how that just, makes me smile in general.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to, when I said I wasn't going to buy any seedlings, I need to buy, and this is part of it, milkweed for the monarchs. So I am going to be putting that in, and I do have to buy that. So I'll do that. And then the other thing is that shade garden that I started last year. Yeah, that bitch burnt slap up. So what I'm going to do. It? Yeah, well, it's all a process for me. So what we're going to do this year, though, is I kind of didn't like the way it was turning out anyways. I'm going to put a bunch of different hostas in there. So they do produce a flower, But being that it's in the shade and all the different size hostas you can get, I plan to get, what I really want to do is go online and just get like a grab bag and just put them out there and just say, hey, let's see what grows. Let's have fun with it. You can always move them, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know what? I actually, and this still may be a problem for you, but I don't know. I'm terrible at this. Maybe somewhere between 15 and gallon, like pots, regular flower pots. I have my hostas in those. I had to move them. I dug them up from my grandparents' house years ago, had them planted in the ground. We know they spread, right? And I was having like some concrete laid where they were planted. So I dug them up, put them in a flower pot. And even in Chicago's winters, I leave them out, come on back next spring. So we should be seeing them bud up.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to kind of control them, if you will.
Yeah.
So
I don't want mine to be controlled. I want them to just go.
Yeah, okay.
I want to see.
Wild.
Yeah, I want to see what it'll do when it goes wild. I really want to see, like, have that space and just be like, go for it.
Yeah.
Live your life.
My neighbor planted. Remember I was telling you about, and most times when I talk about my neighbor, it's a different neighbor each time. So my neighbor directly next door was planting. Remember, she started restarted a garden. She had a garden here before I ever moved here. And so she restarted the garden, planted some things, and they included hostas in the front yard. And she had been checking on them. And I was just saying, like, I can't wait for this spring to come because I know they're just going to come back like gangbusters, you know? So
yeah,
bigger and better, baby.
Do it. I want like the big, huge hostas and stuff. I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, there are actually two hostas that one that I like is the one that I have. And it's pretty traditional, the green with kind of the white, kind of ribbing. But there's one that's super duper pretty to me. And I always see it in the store. I can never bring myself to actually buy it because it's kind of like, I know I'm going to be riding along a road one day. I'm going to have a shovel in the back of my truck and I'm going to be able to dig up somebody's hostas. I know that day is going to come.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting before I buy them.
Yeah, don't buy them. Yeah, so my question to you is, do you think that we should do like a whole flower series on the show?
This is a trick question, isn't it?
It is a trick question. I want you to get out of your own head and just think about that for a second because I'm ignorant as hell when it comes to some flowers, boy. Like, I feel kind of stupid sometimes.
I think that if we focus it on pollinators, what's good for pollination.
Yeah.
I think if we kind of center it around that, which is going to include flowers, I think that would be super helpful.
Okay.
Because there are things that I've had to learn over the last couple of years, maybe like the last 4 or 5 years when it comes to the garden. Don't even get me started talking about, how close the bees are to being extinct. But yeah, I think that would be helpful because, we also want to give. Meaning, like, as a gardener, we want to give back to the earth,
of course.
Right? Back to the environment. So yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, it's well, quickly, what's your top flower you're most excited about growing this year?
Dahlias.
Really?
Yeah, this is the second year that I'll try to grow them from seed, and I'm interested in seeing if I can get them to take off.
Damn, mine's stupid compared to that one. Mine is a salvia. I fell in love with it last year.
Yeah. I know
amazing.
it's one of your favorites.
I've never seen so many bees on one plant in my whole life, ever. So I'm going to get me a pack of salvia seeds, which happens to be very easy to start from seed, apparently. And I'm going to plant me a big old section of salvia. And I'm going to let
Speaking of, I need to look it up once we get done here. I think I'm either almost late or right on time for trying hibiscus. I collected so many freaking hibiscus seeds for my plants. I saved those seeds. And I've never started them from seed. And I really don't even have room in my garden for them. However,
you want me to grow
if
one
I get
for you?
those things to grow... No. If I get those things to grow...
I'll grow one in my yard for you since you have so many seeds.
Oh, what if you want me? Listen, I don't know if they're going to produce or not, but I'd be happy. I talk about seed among seed. I think I did a good job at separating them too.
Did you?
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So, what's your next one? Lay it on us.
All right, let's see. All right, so the next one is giving away and this is going to sound familiar to many of you, I'm sure, at least 10% of my garden harvest.
You're going to tithe your garden?
I'm going to who?
Tithe your garden.
Oh, yeah, tie my garden. I thought you said you're going to tie up my garden. Yes, I'm going to tie up my garden. I think last year, for a few different reasons, I had the intention on donating. And while I did give away things like, some of the vegetable treats that I made and all of that stuff, I want to be very deliberate in it this year.
Just plan a row.
So starting out. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I got some other ideas. But yeah.
What's your idea?
Well, I don't want to talk about it right now.
Oh. Well,
Where to come? Look at you stealing from future episodes.
My suggestion is just plant a row and say everything that grows here gets donated. That's like a thing to do. Now you can definitely carve your own path because I know how you are. Yeah. I know you like to chisel your own path in this world. So, but that's definitely a thing.
He's chiseling. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with that. I think that would be. I think that a lot of people should do more of that, but also I get how it can be hard to do. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just having like a bang up year, but if you're like struggling one year or something, it can be hard to like part with it. So, and where are you going to give it to?
I mean, I think, it's giving, and we had this whole argument almost last year around my distinction of giving. So I'm putting it all in one barrel of giving. So this includes what I give to people that I know personally and what I give to, food pantries. And it goes back to the number one goal. If I have a handful of vegetables, I'm going to drive over. It's a handful of blocks away to a food pantry near me.
Yeah.
So I don't need to have some big harvest. I don't need to wait until that happens.
No.
So my intention is to recognize that while I may only have 10 tomatoes, and obviously this is just for reference point, I could give one away. I could do without one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what I was getting at is, are you going to give it to just like somebody you know or to a food pantry?
No, it's a combination of both. So that 10% kind of folds into, I will consume 90% of my garden myself, and the other 10% minimally.
So you want to hear something awesome that happened last year when we dropped off some produce? They
what's that?
We gave them, we just brought a small like grocery bag full of produce over, and the food bank was like, because they have grocery stores that donate to them, the stuff that's, I don't know if it's about to go out or what, but they're like, this looks way better than anything that comes from the grocery store, and I was like, you're damn right it does. Thank you. It's like that was like my bowel movement.
Wait,
like,
you needed me following you around for?
Yeah, that should just be like, Leonard, next time let's get Batavia down here to ring the bell whenever we do that. She's just going to be the official bell ringer.
Or at least Zoom me in, right?
No. No, the hell with that. No, we're going to bring you down here and you're going to walk around just ding every time something happens. So,
you want to hear something funny? I was reading just recently around a recommendation to turn off for those that are working at a computer or using a computer and using the Zoom or like functionality to hide the self view. So you can't view yourself. There was something like, plastic surgeons have been interviewed, and there has been an increase in the number of people that have basically wanted to get plastic surgery. So the theory is you are sitting and seeing yourself much more than you ever have, and people are like identifying flaws, right? And so right now I have my my self hidden, but
I don't have myself hidden,
but
I
is sticking up.
I don't care. I have so many flaws. It's okay.
Well, good for you though. But there are people that do care. So
yeah. You know
I feel
what?
Like you're one of them. Hide the self, baby.
You know what the problem is though? I find beauty in people's flaws. So my wife has a specific flaw that I find highly attractive. I won't bring it up because I don't want to embarrass her. She considers it a flaw. I don't. But everybody's flaws, I find them as a source of beauty because that's what makes us unique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good on you.
Good on me.
The nominations are already in.
I win.
The Emmy will not be given to you.
I win. I win.
Damn
So it's not a contest, Batavia. I had one more.
You're clearly trying to make it. You're clearly trying to make it one. All right, go for it.
I had one more, and it has happened to slip my mind. As a matter of fact, I should have written it down right there. Yeah, you're going to have to go unless it comes in my head and I'm going to have to just blurt it out.
Okay. Well, I got
what was it? Wait, what was the last thing we were talking about?
Oh, yeah, because I think I interrupted you with my random story. Talking about donations, and you were telling the story about how that produce you guys brought in looked much better than the produce at the
before that
stores donate.
Before that. Leonard, can you pipe it in?
Talking about pollinators? Yeah. Yeah?
No.
No.
It'll come back. It'll come back. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so the next one is... This is going to be simple and to the point. Pressure canning.
Nice.
Garden mic drop.
You're going to do it.
I'm going to do it, man.
Good.
I'm more nervous about that than I am root vegetables. Mm-hmm. So this is a big one for me, too. I mean, I have the pressure canner. Like, let's just be realistic, Batavia. That's my pep talk to myself. It's time to get it done. I'm going to take your advice, right? I'm going to start easy and not even with something for my garden. I have the equipment. I've been reading over the instructions, which I'll do 8 more times before I actually, get in the kitchen with it. But yeah.
Dude, the first thing to pressure can is green beans. That's the first thing.
That's the advice you gave me.
Yeah. Just can some damn green beans are so easy. So, anybody that's listening that wants to start pressure canning, boom, there it is. So, this year, this isn't what mine was, but we have made a separate resolution that I've tied into gardening, even though it probably shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. And that is to eat more pie and less cake. Straight up. I've had a revelation.
Is that the whole, literally pie or?
Literally pie. Like make more pies instead of cake.
Is that representative of something else?
No. Okay. I mean, it's eat pie. All right. I don't know any other way to say it. So I've had I've had a revelation, and I was thinking the other day, I was like, I enjoy cake more than I should. Mm-hmm. But I was looking at a pie and I was like, this pie screams garden, because you can grow everything to put in it, except for the flour. I mean, you could even grow the flour, but then you look at a cake and you're like, maybe I put some jelly in it. Maybe you put a little bit of fruit. So I told my wife, I said, this year I want you to make more pies, because she's the baker. And I was like, but I want you to cool it on the windowsill, like in the cartoons back in Looney Tunes and stuff. So I've got to make a pie cooling station. So, but that because we got, what do we have growing? We have blueberries and blackberries growing. Those are our fruits that we have growing right now. And strawberries. Yeah. All that can be put into pie.
I can appreciate it because it feeds into just our general theme when we talk about use what you grow, Yeah. So. But
use it in different ways too. I can
dig it.
I think it's important to use it in different ways. So. Yeah. That was not my last one.
I got one more.
I'm literally not going to be able to come up with it, so I'll probably tell you on the next episode.
Okay, I have one more, and this will give you time to not come up with it further. And this is, and again, I'm going big here. This is a lot. Like, this is a long list, and part of what we do here is try to keep things to a manageable state, and I still feel like this is manageable. So, support. Donate my time, help aid. I'm stopping short of saying mentoring, but a local gardener, So, again, we're still in the midst of the COVID of it all, but there's still ways for me to be able to provide some support to someone locally. So I'm actually looking forward to that. We've talked about how gardening can be a solo sport, if you will. And while we talk online, you and I talk a lot about gardening, and among other things, it'd be nice to spend some time, in someone else's space. I did a little bit of that last year and really enjoyed it. I had some people reach out to me last year. And so I'm coming into the year kind of with that as a commitment.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. So you're not just going to say, hey, go listen to the Backyard Gardens podcast. You'll learn everything you need. You're actually going to go talk to them.
That's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
So first, I need you to tell me what we said at minute 39 or what minute do we say this? How many bells were rang in the last episode? So those are going to be some of the pop quiz items.
Give them a pop quiz. No, I think that's a good thing. I mean, that's a lot of people do that. And not, a lot of older people do that. I find like in my area, I'm not trying to say you're older. What I'm trying to say is,
I know where you're headed.
Where am I heading?
A lonely heart. Okay. All right. Maybe that's the thing. Yeah.
No, it was like my grandfather. He was always willing to tell you about gardening, even if he didn't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? And like now it just seems like it's more of a solo world. We're more isolated than we've ever been, yet we're more connected than we've ever been. We're living in a big oxymoron, it's like a constant like battle. But I can tell you that through this and YouTube and social media and all that stuff, I feel like I have more people to talk to about gardening than I ever have.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I think that's in part the reason why I kind of honed in on this goal for this year is because I feel like, and there are people that help you and I as well. And there are people that I hope that we're helping. And to do that virtually is, it's wonderful. Like there's some things you would never know, if you didn't talk to someone in Arizona. But I think it's really important for me to pause and say, all right, let's talk about your own backyard.
Yeah.
Meaning like, my area, not my own back. I know. If we have to explain the joke, it really doesn't hit the same way. But
I knew where you were going. I knew where it was.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I kind of think about like, I clearly talk to more gardeners outside of Illinois than I do in Illinois, and I'm not looking to match a number or top a number or anything like that. But I do think it makes sense to be able to connect with people locally, and specifically someone that maybe could need a hand, need some encouragement, maybe need a little bit of advice, want someone to turn some soil over. Maybe not that, but you do know I love fresh soil. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that piece of it.
So this wasn't one of my resolutions, but this is something I've toyed with for a long time. I would really like to start like a gardening club in my neighborhood. My neighborhood's not huge, but I'm doing 10,000 steps a day right now. And every time I go out, I see people with little gardens in their backyard, little structures. Yeah. And, and people are starting to catch on that this is what we do. Because I don't really talk to a lot of people in my neighborhood. But I think it would be a good thing to, like, have them together so they can share. Everybody's got their own space. But if they need help, they know somebody here that can help them. Somebody can go there and help them and just put everybody to look at it and say, yes, this is what we want. This is, yes, this is good. This is bad, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's important. And I support that. I think you're doing it. I mean, even if you help one person, like who cares? Because that one person might help somebody else. So
absolutely.
You're starting a pyramid scheme for gardening.
I love it. Leonard, make sure you make a note of that. Timestamp. Got it.
Yep. The pyramid scheme for gardening. So it's a lofty set of goals that we've set. I had one more, man, but I'm having a brain fart. So
it's okay.
I'll give it to you guys. I promise I'll give it to you. What's the next episode, Batavia?
What is the next episode? Good night. You're asking a lot of me. This is the happy version of me, not the organized version of me. So the next episode, we are talking all things that are healthy. Hold on. What's the name of it? It's something like, I don't know, how you're going to build a garden and make sure that you're healthy. Planting a garden for a healthier lifestyle. Boy, it took a lot of stalling to get to that one.
It did.
Or something along that. It's a working title.
Yeah. Yeah. So
perfect timing for it, right?
It is. And it'll be good. I think I'm excited to talk about it, actually. So next week right here. In the meantime, though, everybody, remember, we set some lofty goals today, but it's important that you set yours, that you go into this year of gardening and set some defined goals for you to achieve. You know, I mean, when we did the last ones, did it help you to look back and say, yes, I did that, or no, did it help you?
You know it did. You know it did. Yeah.
I was going to say, not everybody's watching. You got to speak.
Yeah, it's in my DNA, though, right? Yeah. It's a way to be accountable. It's a way to actually think about what you did, what you didn't do, and what you want to do next year as well. So yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's good for accountability, but I think it's good to grow as a gardener too. I think it's good to set like a distinct goal and to follow through with it. You can't be closing out the episode and then opening that can of, the idea of growing, right?
Yeah.
Expanding yourself, pushing the envelope a little bit. I love it. But again, this is this time of year for me, man. It all speaks to me. Really? Stay tuned to next month when it's full on winter in Batavia. Yeah. That might be next week. You never know. This is true. You already have the hoodie on, man. Yeah. So don't forget, Batavia's wearing socks. We are running a seed giveaway. February 1st is when it closes. Sign up at backyardgardenstv.com. Check us out on all our usual places. We got some good stuff coming up on YouTube. And until next time, everybody, Happy New Year. We love that you're here with us. Be safe. Wear a mask. And see ya. Thanks for listening and hanging out with us today. If you want to continue the conversation or just see what we've been up to, feel free to follow us on Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV. And we'd love to see your gardens and what you've been up to. So tag your photos with hashtag BYG Podcast, and we'll share them and help you out with whatever kind of issues you have. We love seeing what you guys are doing. And if you want to see some videos that we were producing, you can follow us on YouTube at Backyard Gardens TV. And we'll be posting clips and podcasts and recipes and vlogs and greenhouse stuff and all that good stuff. Everything to keep your garden soul happy. So head on over to our social media pages and give us a like, a follow, and a subscribe. And until next time, learn to grow for change. And we're going to call this one a wrap.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.